Lemonville, but who in the heck's heard of Lemonville?
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah,
one.
exactly.
Huh.
Exactly.
What Beaumont?
I'm ready, man.
So what coin got picked?
They picked the Susan B. Anthony.
Susan B. Anthony.
Yes, sir.
So give a little bit of history on that.
On the coinage of
Yeah.
such.
We'll just,
Yeah.
because I wasn't taught this in government class.
That's because we wasn't doing any money in the government class.
What was that about money?
$2 coins in circulation in the United States.
Okay.
They originally came out in the 70s with the Susan B. Anthony, the suffragette and all that, and all this, but it was too close to the quarter. So later on, they decided they would come out with the Sacagawea, of course, named after the Indian Sacagawea,
Sacagawea.
and made it gold so it would be more distinguishable
There you go.
than the silver one.
Okay.
The problem is, nobody in America uses coins for dollars. We still like paper dollars,
True. Okay.
as do I.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah, and don't ask me how I wound up with two of these, but I found these two
Okay.
and decided to bring them.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Easy enough.
The only place I see them used is a car wash.
Say it again.
The only place that I see them used is a car wash.
Car wash. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Over in Jasper, the car wash.
Really? I'm
You,
impressed.
you go to you put $5 in, you'll get five.
Five of them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's pretty slick.
It's pretty cool.
What kind of time am I going to? 56. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there and you're tuning in, please like, share, and subscribe. Go over to our Facebook page. You can check us out at notonthepayroll.com. You can check us out on YouTube as well. Obviously, if you're watching this, you already know that. But here's the thing. Facebook somehow or another blocked us from promoting this event. And so we're asking everyone to share and view and pass it around the best you can. We need all the help we can get, as you can already tell. So here's the thing. We're going to kick off here in a couple more minutes. We've got a few more minutes, so go ahead and shoot this out to all your friends. You can go over to, if you don't know how to get to it if people don't know how to get to it on Facebook or YouTube, you can go to notonthepayroll.com. You can go over to, it says Newton County Debate. There's a button at the top. You can click on that, or you can click the big red banner at the very top. It's going to take you to the same place, and there's going to be the debate YouTube right there. So,
And if you miss it tonight, it will be on YouTube shortly after we get off the air, won't it be?
absolutely.
Yeah. So you can watch it just about any time between now and the election on Saturday.
Yeah,
Or on the 22nd,
on the
yeah.
24th.
24th, excuse me.
24th.
24th.
So the 24th is the election. This Saturday you've got what?
Local elections.
You got local election, and you have the big propositions, right?
The proposition, constitutional amendments.
Yeah, propositional amendments.
On property taxes.
Yeah. Think you're going to do anything with it?
I don't think it was.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I don't think.
so. I don't think so either. I think they're going to. I don't know. It'll be interesting. We'll say that much.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna make a couple of technical changes right here before we get started. If you would, Ronnie, just state your name and state your name and where you live, so we can kind of get a sound check here.
Okay, Ronnie Cochran, live in Newton, Texas.
Okay? Mr. Kenneth?
I'm Kenneth Weeks, and I live in Burkeville, Texas.
Okay, that should be easy enough. All right. Simon? Perfect. If you would, make sure. of your mic.
Okay.
That way everybody at home can hear. So, we're going to go ahead and get started. You are listening to Not on the Payroll. We are, well, we're pretty much everywhere. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook. We're not on Twitter yet, but now that Elon Musk has bought it, that's something encouraging for us. So
We ought to go there.
we may go back.
Yeah,
So.
we ought to go there.
So, just wanted to invite everybody in. We want to thank you guys for sitting down with us, Judge Weeks and Ronnie. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule. I know you guys have been doing this a lot. Both of you are probably wore out at this point of doing these types of things, but what's nice is we're going to be able to record it one time, and if anybody wants to know who you are, where you are, what you're doing, and all that stuff, it'll be there. So you may not have to do one after this. So nonetheless, we are brought to you guys tonight by two companies here in town, Cajun Joe's Cafe and also El Flamingo Mexican Restaurant. They're both here in Newton. I don't know if you've actually been over there. Have you been over there yet, Kerry?
I have not.
Have not been over there. Well,
The El Flamingos really sounds tempting.
so El Flamingo, talked to those guys today, and on May 5th, which is Cinco de Mayo, they're going to be giving out free margaritas
There you go.
with a purchase of each meal. And so, I don't know if you're a margarita person, but hey, Cinco de Mayo, awesome. The other thing is, they're going to be giving out roses for Mother's Day. So if you have a mom, take her over to El Flamingo and they'll hook her up with a rose. They're open 11 to 9. But I mean, enchiladas, fajitas, chips and queso, and I'm gaining weight. So neither here nor there. We've also got Cajun Joe's. Cajun Joe's, they are a proud sponsor of what we're doing here tonight. They're located, both of these restaurants are on both corners here in Newton County, in downtown. So all you have to do is just keep driving around the circle, you'll see. But nonetheless, Cajun Joe's has got you hooked up with Cajun, let's see, all kind of Cajun seafood, but they've got crawfish, they've got all kind of specials that's going on right now. They've got a great special tonight on crawfish, and also we'll tell you more about that later on in the show. But nonetheless, we want to cut right to the chase. Once again, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you haven't liked, shared, and subscribed, we ask you to do that. We will block somehow or another on Facebook, and that's just part of what happens, I guess, out there. But nonetheless, we want to go ahead and get this thing kicked off. And once again, gentlemen, we really appreciate you guys taking time. I don't know if this has ever really been done in Newton County, but we wanted to at least kind of throw our volunteerism in the mix to get the word out. So here's the thing. We want to start tonight with an opening statement from the two of you. And so, who won the coin toss?
Mr. Cochran.
Mr. Cochran, okay? So, Mr. Cochran, if you would, go ahead and take your 2 minutes and give us your opening statement, sir.
Okay. Hello, my name's Ronnie Cochran. I'm running for your candidate for county judge. Lifelong resident of Newton County. Been in a lot of different experiences. I've worked in the lumber, chemical, and right now I'm in the petrochemical, industry, oil and gas.
Okay.
A lot of different, over the years, I've served as fire chief for Newton Volunteer Fire Department. I have served on different boards. Right now I'm president of the Child Welfare Board here in Newton, on the LEPC, committee. Years ago I served as chairman of the board of Self-Help Housing in Newton. But, there's a lot of different experiences, lifelong experiences that I've had that I feel qualifies me for this position. I've made many budgets, over the years, had many leadership schools, led people, supervised people, just lots of different experiences that I think will qualify for me for this job. And, there's lots of things I would like to do for Newton County. I would like for Newton County to be a place where our youth could grow and provide, stable life and work for them to be able to stay here for, live their lives out in Newton County if they choose.
Okay. All right. Mr. Weeks.
Thank you, and I appreciate these young people being here. I appreciate y'all, putting this on. I think you said this was the first thing the first has ever been happening in Newton County, and that's advancement in my opinion. So I appreciate y'all coming, and especially the Burkeville School. I am Judge Kenneth Weeks. I am your president judge. I was born and raised right here in Newton County. I was educated in Burkeville and went to Lee College. I was been in engineering field for 10 years and decided to come back home. I bought my own business and I've been in business for 38 years. I was in the construction business, which consisted of residential, industrial buildings, also the dirt and concrete business. Also was in the timber harvesting business for 38 years. Always been in farming. I was raised on a farm. I know all about it. Raise quality hay and do that on the sideline now, and I call it my hobby. So I've also bought real estate, sold real estate, been into all that for several years. Been a taxpayer since I was 20 years old right here in Newton County, and as of today, I'm still a taxpayer. Been your county judge for 3.5 years. We've got a lot of stuff accomplished in these last 3.5 years. One of them being the prison that was a $9.4 million default on bond, and we bought it for $100,000. But we've done several things with the grants. We've advanced in the grant, and the most important thing of my administration was getting a biofuel, and we've attracted their attention, and they have decided to come to Newton County.
Okay. Very good. I'm glad you brought up Burkeville schools. We actually made it available to all schools here in the county, and Burkeville showed up for us. As a matter of fact, that's actually kind of where we want to start, isn't it, Kerry?
I think so.
Okay.
Taylor?
We have Taylor with
Burkeville ISD.
ISD.
Hi, my name is Taylor Balding, and I'm with Burkeville ISD. And my question is, what are your long-term goals for Newton County?
What are your long-term goals for Newton County?
Is that question for me?
It flops back to Mr.
Okay,
Judge, and then
I wasn't
like
sure.
that.
We'll
It
see
goes
some.
back and forth. We see all afterwards.
All right. So what are your long-term goals?
I think that question is a well spoken question, and it's well deserving. My long-term goal is for you, the youth of Newton County. As I was growing up, I had nothing here to come back for. I did come back to Newton County, but I want to make a place to where you can come back or never leave. Or if you want to go to get higher education and then come back to Newton County, I want to provide that option for you. And so that's my main goal for Newton County, is the opportunity for the youth.
Very good. Mr. Cochran.
Basically the same thing. I would like the long-term goal to work on the county's infrastructure to be able to attract more business, as far as high-speed internet, water, sewer, make it attractive for business to come to Newton County. And then, where the kids, like Mr. Weeks said, opportunities for our children.
Okay.
And that's the long-term goal.
I did. Mr. Cochran, please explain what? Yeah, back and forth. Yeah, seesaw's back and forth. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm doing the
We
LD.
have seesaws.
I'm doing, yeah.
We have seesaws.
Well, I'm kind of doing LD style here, so.
Go for
yeah,
it.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
Okay. Mr. Cochran, please explain in detail what you understand what are the duties of the Newton County Judge?
From what I understand, and from what I see, the Newton County Judge is basically the chief financial officer of the county. He is responsible, he's the head of the county government. You know, there's 4 commissioners and the county judge that run the county government. But the county judge is basically the chief financial officer. He is responsible for the finances of the county and making sure it's spent wisely.
Okay. Judge Weeks, what surprises did you find in county government and in Newton County specifically when you were first elected?
What surprises?
Yes, sir.
The surprises is the enormous position of the Newton County judge. You know, when you're elected and you think, well, I got this. Well, you probably don't have it because you've been bombarded from day one about questions that you don't even know exist. And so you learn very fast and you get along with people. You try to unite people that maybe it's not united in their county. And so it's a great responsibility to take on the challenge of Newton County judge. And to take on the responsibilities not only through that, but also through the administrative and judgmental, judicial, and then I've took on the role of economical development, which is not part of our duty, but it's a responsibility that you take on. And from my standpoint, I think that's one of the most important things that a judge has is for economical development for the future of Newton County.
Okay.
Yes. Judge Weeks, what is the current financial condition of the county?
The current financial condition, as I see it, is we're very stable, and that's from my perspective. We do have an audit department which audit our financial funds and stuff and gives us the report. But as of right now, I haven't got that true and accurate report. So, but in my opinion, we are very stable.
Mr. Cochran, what do you believe the current financial condition is of Newton County?
Well, you know, the latest numbers I've seen, you know, and that's coming off the audit reports from Newton County, you know, as far as allocated reserves, Newton County, which allocated is the road and bridge, the commissioners, you know, the funds that are used to run the county. You know, we're running probably a little over 8 million. As far as the general funds, which, you know, if you have a household, you know, you have your allocated funds. You got your house note, you got your car note, you got your electric bill. You know, you can't use it. General funds is basically like your savings account. You know, they pay for your flat tires, your unexpected expenses. You know, and the county has been running, you know, since 2013, 2014, roughly around 2.5 million. You know, in the last couple of years, you know, in 2020, the county was down to, you know, basically little or nothing, where they had to lay off county employees, you know, because the general fund and the balance was down. From the numbers, projected numbers I've seen for the end of 2021, you know, the county general fund balance is around 600, and they said that number would possibly go lower once all the bills are paid for 2021.
Once again, goes back to you, Mr. Cochran. What county services do you hope to improve?
Well, I hope to improve all county services. You know, people are paying taxes, you know, and they expect a return on what they're paying. You know, I expect to, you know, hopefully make life better for the people in Newton County by creating better services. You know, just making life in general better for the people.
Do you have any specifics?
Well, there's, like right now, there's ambulance services is pretty non-existent. They've been working on it. I know Allegiance I went to a meeting this Saturday in Burkeville. There was a lot of discussion on ambulance response times in Newton County, Burkeville, basically northern Newton County. And, like the ambulance services, 90 to 95% of the calls in Newton County are indigent care. That's basically like you work 10 days, but you only get paid for one. So the services cannot continue like that. So we need to work toward a solution that will work for everybody in Newton County to help fund the ambulance services. And there was a lot of options discussed, and it shouldn't solely fall on the taxpayers, on the people that own the property. If it should fall on everybody.
Okay.
Judge Weeks, what county services have improved under your leadership?
Well, just about all services improved to a certain extent. All services is guided by money. And if you want to keep your taxes low, then you take whatever road you want to take, either raise taxes to improve the quality of service, or you can keep the quality of service as they are and keep your taxes low. Now, to provide another tax base to where it would create more taxes is the biofuel. I mean, yes, we give a tax abatement, but it brings more tax in, and that's how you create better services, is through manufacturing and jobs to where we can create a better service here in Newton County.
Let's see, it would be Mr. Cochran's turn. Mr. Weeks' turn, thank you. Keep me honest. Judge Weeks, when you took office, how did you navigate the county's budget issues?
I looked at the budget very carefully, and we was fortunate and had an increase in our revenue. We was allowed to give our employees a 3.5% raise, and so we also provided certain upgrade in each office that required or requested those benefits, and so that's how I created the budget.
Mr. Cochran, do you agree with the way that Judge Weeks handled the budget issues of the county?
Well, the appraisal district, they'll have a set of numbers. This was projected numbers for the budget, and then I think it's May or June, this is the actual number that you have. The funds, that were allocated, something happened and the people got laid off, so, budget shortfall, but hey, you've got to stay within the budget, spend the money you got, and provide essential county services.
Yeah, take it.
All right, so we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit. We're going to talk about preparedness. And I think this goes back to Mr. Cochran. Mr. Cochran, what do you believe needs to be addressed concerning disaster preparedness?
Disaster preparedness, I have, been fire chief for years, been in the fire service. Right now I'm certified as, fire marshal, fire inspection and code enforcement. What needs to be addressed is we need to get our general fund balance back up in the county to where if there's a natural disaster, we have the money if we need to rent generators, if we need to provide services until FEMA steps in to help. We need to have money available to do that. And to me, the biggest thing we could do right now is build our general fund back up.
Okay. Mr. Weeks, you've had a few emergencies, or some few disasters that's happened since you've been in office. What do you believe, looking forward, what do you feel like needs to be addressed concerning disaster preparedness?
Well, disaster preparedness, we're in desire need of a EOC building to where we can provide that emergency service, emergency communication through the other agencies through Texas to where we can request whatever we need. Right now, we do not have it. We do have an emergency manager. In the last disaster, I set up right here and put up curtains, tarp curtains, to provide the emergency units that we needed, response teams, from people that's eating on the other side, and it gets pretty noisy. So in that condition, you need quietness. You need to where you can actually respond and to be able to connect with other people. And so that is the most important thing to me right now. We have got things in place to address those issues, but the EOC would be the most important thing that we need today.
Okay.
Hey, can I add one other thing to that? You know, I feel the county also needs a public information officer. You know, during disasters, you know, people are on Facebook trying to find any information they can. I think the county needs a dedicated person during a disaster to disseminate the information out to the people.
Okay.
That comes along with the EOC building.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've got this grant out here at the intersection which will provide information to the people that's going through town, going through our city, information they need, where the food, where the water, where's the gas, which direction they need to go.
Okay.
So that is something I have provided for the Newton citizens and people that's driving through.
All right. I think it was fairly balanced out.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think so. I think so. Yeah. Judge Weeks, concerning disasters. How is the county better prepared for disasters as a result of your leadership?
Well, we've come a long way, just like I just said just a while ago. We put this $200,000 message board out there. Would be great communication that would relieve some of the duty of the person responsible for information, and he could actually put it up on the board. He wouldn't have to make that phone call. He wouldn't have to be doing this and that and other. And so we separated ourselves from the Jasper Newton disaster or emergency unit, and we've created Newton itself. We've got our own emergency manager coordinator, and he is a great person, does a great job, knows every person in the state of Texas, and everybody knows him, and that goes a long way through emergency services.
Mr. Cochran, what do you believe could have been done better during the disasters experienced during Judge Weeks' term?
Well, like I was stating earlier, you know, people were scrambling for information, you know, and, you know, all the Facebook warriors were out there, you know, lots of false information was getting shared and put out. You know, an information officer will go a long ways. As far as, you know, I was working a lot during that time, you know, working in a petrochemical industry. You know, we had our own disasters, so I really wasn't aware of what was going on much at the time in Newton, but I did see, you know, the crews opening the roads. You know, we need to be more proactive and get the roads open and being able to help get services back where people can come home.
Yeah. Mr. Cochran, if faced with the opportunity to secure grants, specifically grant money, for which only part of the county is qualified to receive. Example, precincts 1 and 2 would qualify for the grant, precincts 3 and 4 would not. Would you forego that opportunity just because the entire county would not receive funds?
I would not forego the opportunity, but I would make precinct 3 and 4 aware, hey, this grant is only available to this, you may be open for a grant at a later date, but, as long as you make people aware of what's going on, your perception is a lot, If you perceive you're doing, people perceive you're doing more for north end of the county than you're doing for south end of the county, or you're doing more for Newton than either end of the county, it goes a long way, back to just talk to the people and tell them what's going on.
Judge Weeks, what grants has the county received during your term, and what were they for?
We received several grants during my term. One of them being the broadband. The broadband grant only qualified for the north end of Newton County because of the LMI, which stands for low to moderate income. I was in competition with 12 other counties, or 11 other counties, including ours is 12. And this is the only area in our COG that qualified for a $9 million grant. And yes, I'll take that opportunity any day to provide that service to my people without cost. So when you're governed under the grant requirements, that you have to meet certain standards, then when one part of the county does not qualify, I will take advantage of the grant to provide what service I can to the people that qualifies. So we have got a Harvey grant, which is a program to buy out more property, and also for some infrastructure. But those have not been put into action yet. And so that's the 3 grants that's been majorly been under my leadership.
Judge Weeks, concerning that the people of the county did not get behind your vision for the prison at the ballot the last time, how do you plan on getting the county on your side?
Well, as far as a jail,
Yes.
I would presume. We are definitely in need of a jail. I thought that would be a good service or a good place to refurbish. The voters decided that wasn't a good fit. But sooner or later, with a biofuel, if they come to Newton County, they'll be bringing some 600 workers, construction workers, and they're probably not all gonna have wings. So we're gonna provide a place for them, and we were not prepared for that. And the man was here yesterday, the CEO of the biofuel, and he said the construction should start sometime in 25. So are we prepared for that? We're not. So I was trying to prepare for the future, and I'm still going to pursue that avenue, whether it's through a new jail or convince the people that we do need it. Are we going to pay Jasper County, Polk County, Galveston County, or some other county to house our overrun? And we're going to have overrun. Thank you.
Mr. Cochran, do you agree with the county's position about the jail?
I agree the county does need a new jail. The current jail was built back in the 70s. Heck, I was going to middle school when I can remember driving by on a bus in the building. But, I don't think the county should, go in complete debt as far as, they pushed forward a $12 million bond issue to raise the taxes, property taxes. I don't think that's the way to go. I would like to put forth a commission, that T-close certified, jail standards. Two, study the options. The prison out here, the phase one of it was actually made as a standalone jail. We need to look at that. Is that, could that be, revamped, revisited, and turned back into a jail? I think we could do it for, without putting the county in debt and not raising taxes.
Mr. Cochran, you have stated on social media that you have had trouble getting information that you have requested from the county through the public information request. What have you personally asked for via public information request specifically?
Well, basically and I didn't ask for it personally, but, some on my team have asked for the tax abatement for the biofuels plant. And it was being, you have 10 days, so in 10 days, then it would be sent to the Attorney General's office for their recommendation. So, it's just a lot of this, it was, they've got the redacted form, and then they asked for the, after the biofuel plant was announced, it was held back until the announcement. After the announcement, it was put out, and, at first, they were gonna send back to the Attorney General for, another holdback, but a lot of it was released, so.
So just for clarification, you haven't actually submitted?
No, I haven't, personally, I have not.
Okay.
Judge Weeks, can you address the accusations made about the county being broke and the issue of irregularities in the budget?
The clarification on the budget. We're certified numbers through our tax appraisal. We also have certified numbers from our tax assessor. And that's how you build a budget. I built a budget. We got a new auditor, and the new auditor says that somehow, some way, that those wasn't correct numbers. Said I had to reduce the budget $2.4 million, which I had already certified the budget, and so we had, adopted the budget, and so we had to reduce it, $2.4 million. And so at the request of our auditor, I and the commissioners did reduce the employees, and I never told another office, I just told them they had to reduce the office amount. And so when you have to go back and revisit your budget after you've done created and adopted it, it creates a heck of a burden on the whole county, and that's what's happened to me. And when you have to reduce it $2.4 million in a less than $10 million revenue, that hurts.
Let's see, we're back to Judge Weeks, right? Judge Weeks, and I'm going to ad-lib a little. These are questions that have come in from the community. Yeah, we're trying to clean them up as we go here. Trying to clean them up as we go. We've cleaned it up a lot. Judge Weeks, will Newton County have budget problems in the future? And we're talking about next year, the year after.
As long as we don't get correct numbers and we only get projected numbers, yes, we'll have budget problems. To create a budget, you run off of projected numbers through September through December 31st. After that, you have corrected numbers to go back and readjust your budget. And at this time, I do not have the exact amount to where I can correct the budget for 2022.
Mr. Cochran, what do you believe is the most challenging part of Newton County's budgeting?
The most challenging part, I believe, is, Newton's County is 100 miles, a little over 100 miles long. You've got, people from north to south. The most challenging part is to make sure everyone is represented equally by their tax dollars being spent. So, I plan to represent the people from Scrapping Valley to Hartburg equally. And if it's, allocating the money to where nobody feels like they're being left out.
Mr. Cochran, it has been said there will be an increase in traffic with the additions of construction and operations of the biodiesel plant. How do you intend on addressing infrastructure needs for the coming future?
As far as the coming future,
Yes.
Once the traffic increases, I feel like there will be more stores. TxDOT will have to, evaluate the roads, see if they need to work on the road. We may need additional sheriff department personnel to, keep an eye on things. Just provide the whatever's necessary within budgetary constraints to help it out.
Judge Weeks, considering the potential growth coming to Newton County, what changes in infrastructure will be needed to address first?
The infrastructure, let's go back to roads, and I've already addressed the problem with this TxDOT already. I've made the connection to Senator Nichols, which he is on a transportation committee in Austin. I made them very aware that there'll be over 100 trucks per day on our 363 going to the biofuel. So I made them very aware. Newton County cannot do anything about that. That's a TxDOT deal. The infrastructure, as I was saying a while ago, is the safety of our people, and we need to increase our amount of people we can put in jail and still quit outsourcing our money to other counties and them enjoying the benefits of the taxpayers here in Newton County. And so along with that, we got to upgrade our services as far as our county roads. We've set in motion for guidelines for subdivisions so where we won't be overcome by outsiders coming in and provided RV parks and subdivisions that don't meet qualifications here in Newton County and go and leave town with a pocket full of money and leaving us with a mess. So there's several things that has to be addressed here, and I'm planning on addressing it.
We want to make a clarification. I just had a message that on the website it's talking about May 7th as being voted. That's an error on our part. Early voting is actually May 16th through the 20th. And then election day is May 24th. So that's a correction. Sorry about the confusion there. But I appreciate people reaching out and having internet and phones. All right, let's see. Going back to the prison, just for a second, or the jail, we'll call it. Who's that?
Mr. Weeks.
Mr. Weeks, what are your plans?
My plans is to provide a jail for our sheriff department, for our safety of our people, and save the money in which we are outsourcing now. And so we don't have the money. We'll never have the money until we change the structure of our tax base to where we can get more revenue in. So we are going to have to borrow money. There's no way around it. There's no way you can provide a jail, standard jail by the state of Texas by haphazard building. It's got to be built to a grade to where it meets their standard. So I cannot provide that jail and jail safety and to the standards without borrowed money. And so it'll be up to the taxpayers to whether they want to go that direction or keep sending them to outsources to other counties.
So right now, you're currently outsourcing to other counties?
Yes.
Meaning you're sending people who should be in jail here, you're having to send them out of the county?
We also, at the same time, you're taking law officers off the street because they're transporting them from here to the different counties. And then when they're having trial, they have to go back over there and bring them back. In some cases, you have to have 2 patrolmen to go get them and bring them back. So it takes time off our patrol, which we're working off a very minimum now. And so you're taking time off the street and safety of our people here in Newton County.
Okay. Mr. Cochran, what are your plans for the jail and how do you intend on funding it?
Well, like I said earlier, I would like to put together a committee to study the options, which is the most cost-effective way to either revamp this jail here or, the old prison phase 1, or build a new jail. What's the most cost-effective? What is best for the citizens of Newton County? Once the committee presents a finding to Commissioner's Court, we plan on, adopting the best way to go forward.
All right, so I guess this last one go to Mr. Weeks.
Okay.
Or actually, it's Mr.
Mr. Cochran.
Mr. Cochran.
Ambulance services, let's talk briefly about that. Neither of you attended the meeting in Burkeville.
You actually,
I was
Ronnie
there.
Cochran actually
Mr.
did.
Cochran did.
Okay.
Very good. Okay. One of you attended the meeting in Burkeville by the fire chief regarding the ambulance service in the county. One day's record shows close to 4 hours wait time for an ambulance. Who has the first?
Mr. Weeks.
Mr. Weeks, what's your solution?
Well, the solution is, when I first come into the office, I addressed that early on. And come to find out, to stage a ambulance service, one ambulance, here in Newton County, would cost the citizens of Newton County $400,000 a year. It would guarantee that service, but there again, when you upgrade service, it's going at a cost. And $400,000, I didn't think the people would go for that. So we have created a ESD, which is an emergency service that is paid for by the taxpayer. And that is a service that the ESD should provide for Newton County through the taxpayers. So right now, I think the cost is at 3 cents, and but they can go up to 10 cents, and they could provide that service for Newton County. It's an easy solution, but it's just taking on the responsibility.
Explain ESD, whatever.
ESD is emergency service.
It's Emergency Services District where
Yeah.
say like fire department, they receive tax money from wherever their jurisdiction is. The people pay the taxes
Yeah, they got certain districts in
to
which
fund the
they
fire
created.
departments.
In Orange County.
And not all of Newton County has got an emergency district. So we've got a couple places here in Newton that don't,
Yes.
but they could if they wish. But it's something that has to be elected, voted on by the people.
Okay.
Okay, and the last one for Mr. Cochran, what is your solution to the ambulance?
there was a lot of options discussed. Most of the emergency service district are, 3 cents on 100, or, so, well, it's their tax rate. So they're, just like Toledo Bend, they're saying, hey, we get 45,000 a year. We don't want to ask the people to raise their taxes to fund the ambulance. The county could go with a 0.5% sales tax countywide, dedicated to EMS to help fund that. That way, your homeowners and your property owners are not paying, 100% of the bill. You've got Bonware, you've got Newton that do not have an ESD. So you can't ask Burkeville, Toledo Bend, Trout Creek, and Dewaville to pay residents to pay for an EMS for the whole, ambulance for the whole county. So I think, and it'll have to be voted on. It's something you have to bring to the people, tell them, look, 0.5 cent countywide sales tax, to help fund the EMS. But, one thing about the half percent, once that gets passed, property tax rates will be frozen for 5 years, by law. So the property tax rates can't go up, but, the county's receiving money from the 5% sales tax, or not 5%, 0.5% sales tax. And I feel that would probably be the best option. That way everybody shares the load. If you come through buying a candy bar that, it costs, tax rate now is state tax rate is 6.25. The county doesn't currently have a tax, a sales tax rate. So if you add a 0.5%, instead of candy bar costing you $1.06, it'll cost you $1.07.
So I've got two things I just want to go over right here toward the end as we start wrapping up.
I have any closing statements.
Yeah. The first question for you, Mr. Weeks, is going back to what we were talking about on budgeting. You made a statement about getting the wrong numbers. How do we solve that problem? Because it seems like that may have been a source of how you kind of got a lot on your plate at that point. Once you found out you had the wrong numbers, and then 2.4 was it? Was cut. How do we solve the wrong numbers? I've been around businesses and projections and stuff like that, but how do we fix that part?
There's two things that has to happen. The judge is a chief financial officer, but being a chief financial officer, he has to have true numbers to qualify a budget. So without true numbers, and I don't think that's today, I've got true numbers, and so this will continue until we do correct those numbers. Now, it has cost the taxpayers of Newton County last year for outside help for our auditor today to create our third-party audit. We've done that. It almost cost $20,000 last year. This year, we've got the same situation. I've hired the same person, or the Commissioner Court has hired the same person, and I really don't know how much that's going to cost. So we're paying double dipping here on the taxpayers trying to get a true number. So you asked me what the solution is, and I don't know what the solution is, but until we do get the true numbers, we will not have a true budget.
Okay, easy enough. I say easy enough, I should have said fair enough. So my last question for you, Mr. Cochran, going back to this sales tax, okay, specific to the ambulance service and helping the ambulance services here in Newton County. You said 0.5%.
0.5%, I meant 0.5%,
Okay. 0.5%?
yes.
So
Or instead of
current sales tax is at what?
6.25 would be 6.3.
Okay, so current sales tax is 6.25?
It's through the state.
Okay.
Newton County does not have, it now the city has a sales tax, but the county does not have a sales tax.
Okay. Does the state actually cap?
State caps it at 2%. You know, you can't go over 2%.
Okay. Okay. All right, well, I'll tell you what, in closing out, once again, we want to thank you gentlemen for sitting down with us. Hopefully that was painless enough through the back and forth of the seesawing process of this forum here, or this debate. If you're out there and you're listening to Not on the Payroll, you can check us out on YouTube and Facebook, and you can also check us out at notonthepayroll.com. Elections, early voting, May 16th through the 20th, and May 24th is the election day. We want to close by, we informed both of you of this, that we would give you both an opportunity to ask the other one a question. And so at this point, the seesaw goes back to
It would be Mr. Weeks asking Mr. Cochran.
Mr. Weeks. You get the first question. What we did, ladies and gentlemen, we wanted the candidates, obviously everybody and their mother can send in questions and ask, but we wanted to see, and they did, but we wanted to see which ones, or what questions that you guys may have for each other. So, Mr. Weeks, if you would start that off for us.
Yes, and Mr. Cochran, all respect to you as being my opponent, and I appreciate that. But at the same time, when you're running for this position, are you ready to accept this responsibility from day one?
Yes. I am ready to accept the responsibility.
Okay. Mr. Cochran, what is the question that you would like to ask Mr. Weeks?
I would like to ask Mr. Weeks, you know, when you ask about the money to prepare the budget, you know, there's qualified and unqualified. Do you get the numbers from the appraisal district for what to base the budget on, or do they come from the auditor?
They come from the tax assessor.
Okay.
So the tax assessor provides those numbers.
Tax assessor certifies the revenue in which we base our budget on.
Okay. Okay. Well, in closing, let's do this.
It would be Mr. Weeks would have the opportunity to make any closing remarks he would want to.
Would you like to go ahead and start that off for us, Mr.
Okay.
Weeks?
Well, first of all, I've enjoyed the little over 3 years I've been here in this position. We have accomplished a lot. We've probably accomplished more than several other previous judges and commissioners, and I'm really proud of it. And so we got a lot more to do. We've got a lot of stuff going on right now, and a lot of stuff coming down the pike. We've got grants that's in motion that's hadn't been awarded to us yet. And you know, if I can do one thing, is to increase our tax base here in Newton County, so we can lower the tax base for the homeowner. The homeowner is the burden of our tax base, and if I can do that, and we're well on our way, attracting the biofuel, announcing Newton County as their location, and so we've got a head start, and I'm very proud of it, and that's something I'm gonna hold my head high. And if Mr. Cochran is fortunate enough to win this election, my honors is off to him, but I can still step out of this office and say that I have done a good job.
Mr. Cochran?
You know, first off, I'd like to thank you for putting on the program, putting on the forum. I'd like to thank all the listeners Burkeville School District for coming.
Yes.
Thank y'all. You know, like I told you a while ago, I can remember the first time I ever voted, and it's something I'll die with, and I think this was a great opportunity. In closing, I look forward, if I win this election, to serving all the residents of Newton County. And thank y'all for your time. And Judge Weeks, I'd like to thank you for a great campaign.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. There you have it. This is the runoff debate here with not on the payroll. Are you guys anticipating any more forms at this point? You got a few more lined up? Okay. Yeah, okay.
This is it.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, this will be the last rodeo. So, if anybody asks you what you have to say about whatever, maybe they can check it out there on YouTube. We want to thank Burkeville ISD. We want to thank Burkeville for coming up here. We appreciate the questions, appreciate their participation. We made it available to everybody, but there's a lot of things going on in the community. Burkeville was able to pull it off.
Yes.
So we appreciate them for showing up. And matter of fact, we also want to thank the two companies here in Newton County. At this point, I'm starving, and so Cajun Joe's Cafe and also El Flamingo Mexican Restaurant. I want to throw a couple things out there for you, specifically for this week. Now, I don't know about you, but free margarita sounds awesome, and I love celebrating Cinco de Mayo, and I don't even know what it's about. But neither here nor there. Enchiladas, fajitas, chips and queso, burritos, flautas, the whole 9 yards. But May 5th on Cinco de Mayo, if you purchase a meal, they're going to hook you up with a free margarita. Now, here's the thing. I don't even know if I spelled that right, but margaritas are
Close enough.
no spell check on that. Now, the thing is, if you purchase a meal, you get a free margarita. If you're not a margarita drinker, that's fine. You can probably find one sitting next to you. Also on Mother's Day. Mother's Day is coming up. Free rose. Just go in there and say, I've got a mother and she needs a rose. They're open from 11 to 9. So get down there and check them out. Right now, you're looking at about 7 o'clock on the dial, and which means you've got a couple hours to get over there. Cajun Joe's Cafe right here. You just drive around the circle till you see Cajun Joe's. They're at 105 East Court Street. Crawfish. Tonight's special is 10 pounds of crawfish, 1 pound of shrimp, potatoes, corn, dipping sauce, $55. They've got you hooked up. They've also shifted gears on crawfish. So I don't know if you're out there and you're digging some crawfish and need crawfish tonight. 3 pounds for $15, 5 pounds for $25. You can touch base with them. They're right here on the corner, both El Flamingo Mexican Restaurant and also Cajun Joe's Cafe. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you for tuning in. We appreciate Judge Weeks, Ronnie Cochran. We appreciate you guys for coming in and spending some time with us right here in our little event center. This is the Howard Center, correct? It's the Howard Center. It's pretty awesome. Here's what's crazy, and I don't know if anybody else knows this. I think I may be one of the first people to know this, but there is a historical, there's a museum over here next door. It's insane. There's a whalebone in there as about 3 foot tall. Have you seen it? You guys see this? That's crazy. So, anyway, neither here nor there.
And it came from right here in Newton County.
Came right here from Newton County. Yes. So, what's up with that? I mean, it's freaky. Anyway.
Wonder, didn't it?
I'm thankful for my co-host
Yes, sir.
showing up
Yes, sir.
in his Sunday's best.
You betcha.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're out. You've been listening to Not on the Payroll. Good night.